The rain fell like broken glass on the dark Seoul alley. Nia clutched her last $5 bill, her stomach empty for the third day straight. Rent was overdue. Her mother's medicine cost more than she'd earned all week cleaning hotel rooms. But the man slumped against the brick wall was bleeding. His clothes were torn, his face pale with pain. She thought he was homeless, alone, forgotten like her. "Sir, are you okay?" Her voice was soft despite her own desperation. He didn't answer, just stared at her with eyes too tired to hope. Nia knelt beside him, rain soaking through her thin jacket. She pressed the $5 bill into his bloodied hand. "Get something warm, please. You matter." Then she stood and walked away, not knowing she just changed both their lives forever. Behind her, Kang Junho stared at the crumpled bill, something cracking inside his chest that hadn't felt anything in years. Junho watched her disappear into the rain, his hand still gripping the $5. Nobody touched him. Nobody helped him. In his world, kindness was weakness, and weakness got you killed. He was the Shadow Crown, the most feared mafia boss in Korea. Men bowed, enemies died. Power was absolute. Yet this woman, this stranger, had knelt beside him without fear, without wanting anything. Just kindness. His phone buzzed. His men were 3 minutes away, frantic after losing him during the ambush. But Junho couldn't stop staring at where she'd vanished. Her face was burned into his memory. Brown skin, exhausted eyes, gentle hands. She'd looked at him like he was human. Not a monster, not a king, just someone who needed help. Something ancient and buried stirred inside him. He stood slowly, pain forgotten, and whispered into the rain, "Who are you?" 15 minutes later, black Mercedes SUVs surrounded the alley. 20 armed men in designer suits poured out, weapons drawn, scanning for threats. Junho stood calmly now, the bleeding controlled, his expression unreadable. His second-in-command, Taemin, rushed forward. "Boss, we thought. I'm fine." Junho's voice was ice. "Pull all surveillance footage from this area. I want to know everything about the woman who was here." Taemin blinked. "Woman? Sir, what? Everything. Where she lives, where she works, her name, her history. I want a full report in 2 hours." Junho looked at the $5 bill still in his hand, then carefully folded it and placed it in his jacket pocket. "And Taemin? Assigned protection detail. Discreet. She doesn't know." His lieutenant understood immediately. In their world, kindness made you a target, and the Shadow Crown protected what belonged to him, even if she didn't know it yet. That night, Nia collapsed on her mattress in the cramped studio apartment, every muscle screaming, 12 hours cleaning toilets. $3 in tips. Not enough for medicine, not enough for food, not enough for anything. Her mother coughed violently in the next room, and Nia's heart broke a little more. She shouldn't have given away those $5. It was stupid, reckless. But she couldn't stop seeing that man's hopeless eyes. Outside her window, a black sedan parked in the shadows. Inside, 2 of Junho's best operatives watched her building through night vision equipment. "Subject secured," one reported quietly. "No threats detected." "Maintain position," came the response. "Boss wants 24/7 coverage." What Nia didn't know, her landlord had gambling debts. Her workplace was connected to a rival syndicate, and someone had already noticed her. Someone dangerous. The protection had arrived just in time. Morning brought new nightmares. Nia's landlord, Mr. Choi, banged on her door at 6 a.m. "Rent, 3 weeks late. Pay today or get out." His breath reeked of alcohol and cruelty. "I have half," Nia pleaded through the door. "I get paid Friday. Today, or I throw your mother on the street myself." He laughed viciously. Nia pressed her forehead against the door, fighting tears. She'd already sold everything valuable, worked every available shift. There was nothing left. Nothing except the crushing weight of poverty that never ended. At the hotel, her supervisor cut her hours without warning. "Budget cuts," he said without sympathy. On the bus home, a man grabbed her inappropriately. When she protested, others looked away. This was her life. Invisible, powerless, disposable. What she didn't see, the black sedan following the bus, the operatives photographing every threat, the detailed reports landing on Junho's desk with increasing urgency, the storm building in the eyes of a very dangerous man. In his glass tower overlooking Seoul, Kang Junho read Nia's file with controlled fury. Nia Williams, age 26, immigrant, mother chronically ill, working 3 jobs, rent 3 weeks overdue, landlord with violent history, supervisor embezzling from employees, sexual harassment on public transport, every injustice detailed, cataloged, witnessed. The landlord, Junho said quietly, Mr. Choi has gambling debts with the Jade Serpent Gang. 8 million won. He's desperate. Taemin's report was thorough, and the hotel supervisor? Connected to our rivals through his brother-in-law. Small time, but aware. Junho's fingers drummed once on the desk, a controlled gesture that meant deadly focus. Handle it. The landlord's debts disappear. The supervisor transfers to Busan. Make both understand silence. And the woman? She doesn't know, ever. Junho looked at the $5 bill preserved in a clear case on his desk. She gave me kindness without agenda. I'll give her safety without chains. The attack came on Thursday night. Nia was walking home from her evening shift when two men blocked her path in the underpass. Your supervisor says you owe money, one lied smoothly. Time to pay a different way. Fear paralyzed her. She'd been assaulted before. Nobody ever helped. But this time, shadows moved faster than thought. Junho's men appeared like smoke, silent, efficient, devastating. 3 seconds. That's all it took. The attackers were disarmed, faces pressed against concrete, arms twisted at painful angles. Nia stood frozen, not understanding what just happened. A man in an expensive suit approached her carefully. Miss Williams, are you hurt? She shook her head, speechless. We're private security. We've been monitoring threats in this area. The lie was smooth, professional. You're safe now. Can we drive you home? Nia should have been suspicious, should have questioned. But exhaustion and relief overwhelmed logic. She nodded. She never saw the man watching from the rooftop, never saw Junho's expression as he ensured she reached home safely, never knew the king himself stood guard that night. The next morning, everything changed. A different landlord knocked politely on Nia's door. Miss Williams, I'm the new building manager. Your previous landlord sold the property. All back rent has been forgiven as part of the transition. Here's your new lease. Rent reduced by 40%. Nia stared at the papers, not believing. There must be mistake. No mistake. Also, we've scheduled building renovations. You'll have a new heating system by next week. He smiled genuinely and left. At work, her supervisor was simply gone. Transferred, they said. The new manager immediately restored her hours and gave her a raise. On the bus, the man who'd harassed her was arrested for outstanding warrants. Coincidences. Too many coincidences. That night, Junho's phone buzzed. Sir, we have a problem. The Jade Serpent Gang is asking questions about the woman. They know you're protecting her. Junho's jaw tightened. Protecting her from distance wasn't enough anymore. Bring her in, tonight. I don't care how. Keep her alive. They came for her at midnight. Not violently. Junho had forbidden force, but firmly. Taemin knocked on her door with 5 armed men behind him. Miss Williams, I'm here on behalf of Kang Junho. You're in danger. Please come with us. Nia's blood went cold. That name. Everyone knew that name. The Shadow Crown. The Mafia King.
We
I
have
don't
to
understand.
go now.
Someone wants to
I know,
hurt
but
you
it's
to
not
hurt
safe.
him.
We have no
We don't
choice.
have time to explain.
Stay close to me.
Taemin's eyes were
We have to
urgent.
go now.
You can come voluntarily and
but
be
it's not
safe,
safe.
or we can
We have
leave
no
you here
choice.
and you'll be
Stay
dead by
close to me.
dawn. Your choice.
We have to go
Nia
now.
thought of her mother.
I know,
thought
but
of
it's not
surviving
safe.
this long
We have
only
no
to die for
choice.
reasons she
Stay
didn't
close to me.
understand.
We
She
have
grabbed
to go
her mother's
now.
medication and followed.
I know, but it's not
The
safe.
mansion was a
We have no
fortress.
choice.
Beautiful
Stay close to
and
me.
terrifying.
We
and in
have
the
to
main
go
hall,
now.
standing with his back to
I know,
her,
but it's
was
not
the
safe.
man from the
We have no
alley.
choice.
Clean
Stay
now,
close to me.
powerful, absolutely in control. He turned, and Nia's world tilted. You, she whispered, the homeless man, was never homeless, Junho finished quietly. I'm sorry, for everything, but you're safe now, I promise. For 3 days, Nia lived in a gilded cage. Luxury surrounded her, silk sheets, gourmet food, a staff that anticipated her every need. But she was still a prisoner. Junho visited her twice daily, always polite, always distant, never explaining why a $5 kindness had brought her here. My mother needs her medication, Nia said on the 4th morning, her voice stronger now. Delivered daily to her care facility, Junho replied. She has round-the-clock nursing now, paid for. I didn't ask for that. You gave me $5 you couldn't afford. I can afford this. Something in his tone made her pause. Not arrogance, something broken. Why do you care? Nia asked softly. Junho was silent for a long moment. Then he pulled out a clear case containing her crumpled $5 bill, Because in 20 years of ruling through fear, nobody ever looked at me like I was worth saving, except you. That night, he showed her the file. Her file. Everything about her cataloged. And at the bottom, a section that made her blood freeze. Connection to Subject Zero, investigation ongoing. "What is Subject Zero?" she whispered. Junho's expression was granite. "The reason you're really in danger, and the secret I'm still uncovering." The truth arrived in a sealed envelope at 2 a.m. Junho sat alone in his office, the DNA report shaking in his hands. 5 years ago, there had been one night, one woman, one mistake he'd buried under work and violence and forced forgetting. Her name had been Nia Williams, and the child, the son he'd never known existed, had been taken by his enemies and declared dead. But the DNA didn't lie. The boy was alive, hidden. And Nia had spent 5 years searching, grieving, surviving. She didn't know Junho was the father. Didn't know her son was alive. Didn't know the Mafia war that had stolen her baby was his war. He destroyed her life without even knowing she existed, and she'd still given him kindness. Junho stood slowly, walked to her room, and knocked. When she opened the door, sleepy and confused, he said 5 words that changed everything. "I know where our son is." Before Nia could process the impossible revelation, alarms shattered the night. "We're under attack!" Taemin's voice crackled through intercoms. "The Jade Serpent Gang, they're breaching the walls." Gunfire erupted outside, not close enough to reach them, but close enough to terrify. Junho grabbed Nia's hand. "Stay with me. Don't let go." They ran through hidden corridors as his mansion became a war zone. Nia's mind was screaming, "Our son! What son? How?" But survival instincts took over. They reached the safe room, steel walls, independent air supply, enough supplies for weeks. Junho sealed them inside just as explosions rocked the building. In the sudden silence, Nia finally spoke. "Explain. Now." So he did. The one-night encounter 5 years ago. The pregnancy he never knew about. The child taken and presumed dead. The file he just discovered proving the boy was alive, held by enemies. "They took him to hurt me," Junho said, his voice breaking. "But I didn't even know he existed. I failed you both." Nia's hands were shaking. "Where is he?" "That's what they want. They know I know. This attack, it's the beginning of war." The siege lasted 18 hours. When Junho's reinforcements finally arrived, the damage was catastrophic. 12 men dead, the mansion partially destroyed. But Junho and Nia were alive, and the Jade Serpent Gang had left a message written in blood on the walls. "Trade, the woman for the boy. 48 hours. Nia read it and felt her world fracture. "They'll trade me for my son?" "Our son," Junho corrected quietly. "And no, nobody trades you. We get him back another way." "How?" "I don't know yet, but I will burn their entire organization to ash before I let them have you." His certainty was absolute, terrifying. But Nia saw something else in his eyes: desperation, fear, love, maybe. For a child he'd never met, for a woman he'd only just found. "I should hate you," Nia whispered. "I know, but I can't, because you're the only chance I have to get my baby back." She took his hand. "Our baby. So, whatever you're planning, I'm part of it. Not bait, not a victim, a partner." Junho looked at her, truly looked, and saw strength he'd missed before. "Then we do this together, starting now." The plan was insane, suicidal, really. Nia would wear a wire, agree to the trade, and when the exchange happened, Junho's men would strike from every angle. But the Jade Serpent Gang wasn't stupid. They chose neutral ground, a public plaza, cameras everywhere, civilians as human shields. The exchange was set for noon. Nia stood in the plaza's center, her heart hammering. Across from her, a woman held a small boy's hand. Even from 50 feet away, Nia recognized him. Her son, older now, scared, but alive. "Mommy?" His voice cracked across the distance. Nia's knees almost buckled. "I'm here, baby. I'm here." The woman smiled coldly. "Touching. Now come here, alone, or we disappear and you never see him again." Nia started walking. Every step was agony. Every step took her closer to her son and further from safety. She didn't see Junho watching from a rooftop, sniper rifle trained on the woman's head. Didn't see 50 undercover operatives positioned throughout the crowd. The trap was set, but traps work both ways. The woman grabbed Nia the second she was close enough. A knife pressed against her throat. The boy screamed. "Change of plans," the woman hissed. "You both come with us, or I cut her here." Around the plaza, Junho's men froze. Any move risked Nia's life. Any hesitation risked losing them both. From the rooftop, Junho's world narrowed to a single moment. The shot was impossible. Too many civilians, too much wind, the woman using Nia as a shield. But he'd built an empire on impossible choices. His finger tightened on the trigger. Then Nia moved. Faster than thought, she dropped straight down, yanking the boy with her. The knife sliced air where her throat had been, and Junho's bullet found its target perfectly.
It's okay.
The woman fell.
I have something for you.
Chaos erupted. Junho's men swarmed the plaza. The Jade Serpent gang scattered.
It's okay.
And in the center of everything,
for you.
Nia held her son, sobbing into his hair. I found you. I found you. I'll never let go again. Junho reached them seconds later, his rifle abandoned, his hands shaking as he knelt beside them. Is he okay? Nia looked up at him through tears. Meet your father. For one perfect week, they were almost a family. The boy, his name was Kai, adjusted with the resilience only children have. He called Nia Mommy and Junho the man who found me. It was enough. Junho had never imagined himself as a father, had never wanted it. But watching Kai laugh, seeing Nia smile, something inside him healed. Something he didn't know was broken. Then Taimin requested an urgent meeting. We have a problem. He wouldn't meet Junho's eyes. What kind? The kind where I have to choose between loyalty and survival. Taimin's voice was hollow. I'm sorry, boss. They have my daughter. They said if I didn't tell them where Nia and the boy are, they'd kill her. Junho went very still. Who has your daughter? Everyone. The entire coalition. They've united against you. Every gang, every syndicate, every enemy you've ever made. They're coming for her, for the boy, for you. Taimin's hands shook, and I already told them everything. The underworld war began at midnight, not with guns or explosions, but with silence. Junho's empire began to crumble from within. Bank accounts frozen, allies vanishing, safe houses compromised. His lieutenants received offers, betray him and live or stay loyal and die with him. By dawn, half had turned. By noon, Junho stood alone in his office with just 5 loyal men. Nia found him staring at the city he'd once ruled. They're coming, aren't they? Yes. He didn't look at her. You and Kai need to leave. I have a plane ready, new identities, money. You'll be safe. Without you, I can't run, Nia. If I run, they hunt me forever, and everyone I love dies. He finally turned. But you can survive. Please, take our son and survive. Nia walked him slowly. 5 years ago, you gave me a child. 2 weeks ago, you gave me safety. Yesterday, you gave me my son back. She took his face in her hands. Today, I give you something back. Faith. I'm not running, die. We fight together, or we die together. Choose. Junho kissed her then, desperately. Together. Always together. The final assault came with the dawn. 200 enemies, every street blocked, every escape route cut. The mansion was surrounded by an army. Junho had 5 men, limited ammunition, and a woman and child to protect. The odds were impossible, but he'd built a legend on impossible odds. For 6 hours, they held. Every room a fortress, every hallway a kill zone. Nia fought beside him, not with weapons, but with strategy. She'd always been brilliant, he realized. She saw patterns he missed, found weaknesses he'd overlooked. Together, they were devastating. But numbers don't lie. By noon, they were cornered in the safe room. Ammunition nearly gone, water running out, Kai crying softly. Junho held them both, expecting death. Then the walls exploded inward. Not enemies, allies. Taimin stood in the breach, bleeding but alive.
I'm sorry.
I couldn't do it, boss.
We did everything we could.
Couldn't betray you. So I saved
Please,
my daughter
no.
myself
I know this
and brought
is hard.
reinforcements. Behind
I'm
him stood
sorry.
100 men.
We did everything
not
we could.
Junho's, someone else's.
Please, no.
A woman
I know
stepped
this is
forward.
hard.
Elegant,
I'm
powerful,
sorry.
familiar.
We did everything we could.
Hello, brother, she said. Surprised?
no. I
the
know
woman
this
was
is
Minso,
hard.
Junho's half-sister. The one he'd thought died 20 years ago in the same massacre that created him. But she'd survived. Built her own empire in the shadows, and now she'd come to save him. Why? Junho asked, not trusting the miracle. Because Nia Williams once gave $5 to a homeless veteran outside my restaurant, Minso said simply. I was watching. I saw her kindness. When I learned she was connected to you, I investigated, and I realized the truth. She looked at Nia. You don't just save one person with kindness, you save everyone connected to them. Your $5 rippled outward until it reached me, and now I'm here. Together, the siblings unleashed hell on their enemies. The coalition fractured, leaders fell. By sunset, the war was over. The Shadow Crown had fallen but been reborn stronger, with a queen beside him, a sister to guard his back, and a son to build a future for. Nia stood in the ruins of the empire and saw possibility instead of destruction. "What now?" she asked. Junho smiled. "Now we build something better." 5 years later, the mansion had been rebuilt, not as a fortress, but as a home. Kai was 12 now, brilliant and kind, a perfect blend of both parents. He attended the best schools, protected but not sheltered. Happy. Junho had legitimized most of his operations. The Shadow Crown was now a guardian of the city, not its terror. His empire protected the vulnerable instead of exploiting them, and Nia stood beside him as an equal, not a victim he'd saved, not a prize he'd won, a partner who'd saved him right back. On their wedding day, Min-so gave a toast to the woman who gave $5 and received a kingdom, to the man who finally learned kindness is strength, not weakness, to the boy who became the bridge between two broken people, and to the family built on impossible odds. Junho looked at Nia, and she looked back. No words needed.
The deadline is tonight.
They both
We can't
knew
delay.
the truth.
I know.
Sometimes
but are we
the
ready?
smallest acts
We
of
have to be.
kindness
Let's
create
go.
the biggest miracles. One
The
$5
deadline is
bill,
tonight. We can't delay.
one rainy
I know.
night,
But are we
two
ready?
lives
We
forever
have to be.
changed,
Let's go.
and a love that conquered an empire
The
built
deadline
on
is tonight. We
darkness.
can't delay.
This
I know.
was their
But
story,
are we ready?
and it
We
was
have to
only
be.
beginning.
Let's go.
The end.